there. Have you reached that place in your existence where you're like, I have lived most of my life with an eating disorder and I'm really ready to chuck it, but I'm not sure I can live just as myself if I don't have a clear idea of who I am? Can I do it? Well, watch the following video, like or subscribe, and peace. Hello there, my name is Billie Julianna. I'm 49 years old and I have a 40-year history of dealing with anorexia nervosa, and I'm currently following the recovery methods espoused by Tabitha Farrar, Kayla Rose Katecki, and Elisa Ores. And you know, a couple of days ago, I made a video where anorexia detached itself from my brain and conducted an interview with me. And it was really cool because for 30 to 45 minutes, I was able to sit and eat a piece of cake and not have anorexia attached to my brain. And that was nice because I was just being myself eating cake. Very, very cool. And a couple of hours after I shot the video, the doorbell rang. And I was like, who can it be now? Exactly. And so I went and answered the door and it was anorexia standing there. And I was like, what? What are you doing here? I thought you went away. And it said, no, I never left. And then it proceeded to march right in and make itself home in my brain. And I was like, what? You're an unwelcome guest. And it's like, look, I'm not a guest. This is who you are. And I'm like, wait a minute, wait a minute, wait a minute. I just filmed a video where I was myself and you were over there. So I know that you are not me. And so now the fundamental question is, can I be Billie Julianna without anorexia or without an eating disorder, even though I don't know exactly who Billie Julianna is? And the answer to that question for me right now is yes, I can be Billie Julianna without anorexia. Now, anorexia is going to always be whispering and suggesting and making all these arguments inside my brain as I live unrestrictedly until it finally just disappears, because it's very tenacious in and of itself and it will stay attached until I actively start dismantling it. And the action that I need to take is to eat unrestrictedly, enjoy that piece of cake, and not let anorexia march in 2 hours later and tell me that I'm having a blood sugar spike, which is what happened after I filmed that video. Yes, indeed, anorexia came in and said, you ate that piece of cake and it had so much sugar in it, and I know you want a donut later and a brownie as well, but boy, that's a lot of sugar. And so the next morning I got up and I was like, boy, I had a lot of sugar yesterday. I think I'll just have oatmeal for breakfast, which I ended up eating. And there's nothing wrong with oatmeal, but for me, in my personal life, oatmeal has been a safe food, and it has been something that belongs to the restrictive world. And so for right now, I need to shelve oatmeal and leave it there on the shelf and be eating all the things that the unrestricted Billie Julianna wants, which is mostly sweets, donuts and cake, things like that. And of course, processed things like pizza and cheeseburgers, the good stuff, right? That's what the unrestricted Billie Julianna wants. And Billie Julianna, no, I don't have a real clear picture of who she is. But one thing is very, very, very sharp in the image of who Billie Julianna is, and that is she is extremely hungry. It does not matter that I have eaten a lot of food to get to where I am now, and that I've gained 35 to 40 pounds and gotten into the normal BMI zone. That does not matter. I am still an extremely hungry person, and I cannot let restriction march back in and start running the show. So I have to ask myself before I make the final shift into life unrestricted, and that is, can I be Billie Julianna without an eating disorder, even though I do not know exactly who I am? I woke up this morning, didn't recognize the man in the mirror. And I believe that I can shift from a person over here who is in recovery, who is struggling and always wondering what to eat and still fearing weight gain, etc. and beyond, to a person over here who is in recovery and is going, you know what? I don't have to identify with anorexia anymore, do I? I can actually just be Billie Julianna in the world, even though I don't have a clear picture of who that is. Billie Julianna, I know, wants to eat a lot right now, so I'm going to let her do that, and I'm going to eat, and I'm going to actually ingest it, the whole thing, and not throw parts away, and not make substitutions, nothing like that, add extra, and I'm just going to let my weight do its thing because I really don't care about weight anymore. And you know what? A person is evolving here. I think that I can do that. I can shift from this struggling person over here to this person that is just evolving over here. And this video is made just for those purposes, just to remind myself that I can live in the world as who I am without the eating disorder, despite the fact that I don't have a clear picture of who I am without the eating disorder. If who I am right now is just someone who really wants to eat and has a few interests out here like music and movies and comedians when I can remember them, then that's great. I can be that person, and it feels good to be that person. And that's basically the purpose of this video. And even though it's a repetition of a lot of things I've said in the past, I just think that repetition is worth repeating. And I will say again that for people who are older, a lot of us have identities that are just completely tied and intricately laced with anorexia. But we do have selves outside of anorexia, and those selves are not monsters. Those selves are actually interesting people. And what alternative do we have? We can either live in the struggle, or we can actually just go back to anorexia and live that way until our days end, or we can try this experiment of unrestricted living and unrestricted life, and we can dabble with being ourselves even though we actually don't have a clear picture of who we are. There's nothing threatening about that. Anorexia is what's so threatening. Anorexia has been a very scary, ugly, unfortunate past. And so I'm at the point in my recovery right now where I'm like, really, what choice do I have? I can either commit suicide, and I know that sounds ugly, and I don't want to disparage anybody who's in a situation like that, because I have been in that situation many times, feeling suicidal because I felt so bleak. So I could go back to that, or I can live unrestrictedly and do so as fearlessly as I can muster. And I can be pretty fearless. I'm kind of wimpy, but I can be pretty fearless. All right, so that is my message for all of us who are going through anorexia recovery, who are a little bit older, still scared, we've gained weight, we feel a little bit lost, we are really struggling. My message is, what choice do we have but to keep going? And you know what? It will be okay. I can be Billie Julianna without restricted living. And that person, Billie Julianna, will probably be somebody that I can handle. If I could handle anorexia, I could probably handle the Billie Julianna that pops up without anorexia. So that said, I will bow out for now and let you go on and have a wonderful rest of the day. Please go rest, eat unrestrictedly, and peace.